Heartwarming reunion exposed. Dad's incredible Thanksgiving surprise revealed after 3 long days. As Thanksgiving approached, the charming, quiet streets of Ryan's small Midwestern town buzzed with excitement and anticipation. The aroma of roasted turkey and spiced pumpkin pie wafted through neighborhood windows, but for Ryan, it was all laced with an enveloping sadness. A bittersweet reminder of the family he'd lost and the father, now estranged, who would not be sitting at their table. Ryan, a hard-working single father in his late 30s, poured his heart into every moment with his teenage daughter, Lily. Despite the heavy burden of 2 jobs and a dwindling bank account, he never let his determination waver. Each morning, he woke before dawn to bake pumpkin pies while Lily still slept, the kitchen humming with the comforting sounds of whisking and clinking utensils. But this Thanksgiving felt different. The empty chair at their modest table loomed larger than ever, echoing memories of family gatherings filled with laughter and stories shared over warm meals. As he hastily hung autumn leaves along their front porch, Ryan's mind drifted back to his father, a stoic military man who had taught him about integrity, respect, and the meaning of family. "Keep your chin up, son. Life is not about what we've lost, but what we make of what we still have," his father used to say, but those words now cut with bitterness. The rift that had grown between them over the years weighed heavily on Ryan's heart. Would he ever have the chance to mend that gap and show Lily the kind of family he once had? Just when despair threatened to choke him, there was a soft knock on the door. It was Mrs. Thompson, their elderly neighbor, with her warm smile and a heart full of compassion. She took one look at Ryan and knew. Their brief conversation turned into a promise of support, a whisper of hope that rippled through the community. Mrs. Thompson had planned a surprise family reunion, drawing on the threads of connection that bind them all together. Before we continue, I need to let you know about something important that's happening. YouTube has been making changes to the system, and many people are losing notifications from channels they follow. If you're enjoying the content, hit that bell and mark all notifications so you don't miss the next videos. And if you can drop a like, it really helps me with reach. Seriously, it makes a difference. Oh, let me know in the comments where you're watching from. I'm always curious to know who's on the other side of the screen. Now let us continue. And so, the townsfolk began to buzz like bees in a hive, organizing, reminiscing, and planning for Ryan and Lily's unexpected journey towards healing. They pooled resources, shared memories of Ryan's dad, and pieced together a reunion that even Ryan could not have imagined. Meanwhile, he held on to cherished memories of fishing trips and kitchen lessons that colored his days with joyous nostalgia and hope for a brighter tomorrow. Thanksgiving morning arrived, the sun shining warmly through the curtains, stirring the silent house. As Ryan prepared the turkey and baked goods with a mix of excitement and anxiety, he had no idea what awaited him. The air felt charged as he and Lily set the table, their hearts filled with an excitement clashing with uncertainty. Suddenly, a creak echoed from the door, sending a jolting thrill through him. The door swung open, revealing a familiar figure standing in the frame, his father. The breath caught in Ryan's throat as he stood frozen in disbelief. Years of silence hung in the space between them, thick and palpable. Would they finally find the words to heal what had been broken? The answer lingered in the air, echoing with the promise of connection as Lily's wide eyes mirrored his own. Time stood still for Ryan as he stood face to face with the man who had once been his biggest hero and, in many ways, his greatest disappointment. His father, wearing the same weary but proud expression, had aged in ways that were both familiar and foreign. The lines on his face told stories of battles fought and lost, both external and internal. "Dad." Ryan's voice was barely a whisper, laced with shock and longing. The word hung in the air like a fragile thread connecting them both. "Ryan," his father replied, his voice thick with emotion. Tears threatened to spill from Ryan's eyes, a mix of joy and years of unresolved pain. This wasn't just a surprise reunion. It was a potential passage to healing. Lily stood frozen beside her father, wide-eyed and uncertain. The overwhelming emotions swirling around her created a rich tapestry of confusion. She had only seen her grandfather through faded photographs and heard about him in stories, but never thought she'd witness this moment. The unfamiliar distance between them felt like an ocean, vast and intimidating. Can we come in? Ryan's father shifted his weight nervously, glancing at the cozy warmth of the home behind them. Of course, Ryan managed to say. He stepped aside, allowing the man who had become more of a ghost in his life than a father to enter the home. As the three of them settled into the small dining area, silence hung heavily. Ryan's heart raced. The turkey, once the centerpiece of their festive meal, now looked like a prop in a story he didn't know how to tell. Lily watched closely, her eyes darting between the two men like a ping-pong ball, sensing the gravity of the moment but unsure how to navigate it. Ryan's father cleared his throat. I came to make amends. I know I've let you down, Ryan. I know it's been years since we last spoke. His voice cracked, and the weight of his words pressed against the walls of the room. Why now? Ryan asked, his heart racing. There was anger mingled with yearning, but above all, a desperate need for understanding. Because I've spent too long reflecting on my mistakes. I'm not asking for forgiveness, but I wanted to tell you I'm sorry, he said, his eyes glistening with sincerity. This was the moment Ryan had longed for, yet feared at the same time. The air was thick with possibilities. Could they bridge the chasm that had grown over so many years? Could Lily find a connection with her grandfather that would enrich her life? Do you really mean that? Ryan's voice trembled, caught between hope and skepticism. You hurt us. You hurt me. You left without a word. I know, his father said softly. I thought I was protecting you by staying away. I was wrong. Ryan's mind raced with memories, the long nights of silence, the birthday parties where an empty seat had been a constant reminder of absence. But all he could manage was a faint nod, fighting against the swell of emotions. Maybe we could start with something small. Lily spoke up, her voice breaking the tension. Maybe we could share Thanksgiving together? Her simple suggestion hung in the air like a lifeline offered in turbulent waters. Ryan glanced at his father, searching for a flicker of hope in his eyes. A hesitant smile grew on his dad's face, and Ryan felt something shift within him. Perhaps they could forge a new path, one that wasn't defined by past mistakes, but rather by the possibility of second chances. All right, Ryan finally said, overcoming years of hurt and resentment. Let us do it together. As they stepped into the kitchen, starting to arrange the table and share stories, the atmosphere lightened. Uncertainty still buzzed like static electricity, but there was an undeniable spark of change. Would this be the start of something new? Would they create a family bond that could withstand the test of time? Little did they know, the road ahead would still be fraught with challenges, waiting to reveal their true potential as a family. Would they confront the shadows of the past together or risk letting them tear them apart once again? The days leading up to Thanksgiving swirled with anticipation and an unease that kept Ryan on edge. He found himself constantly replaying the moment of reunion in his mind. The look in his father's eyes, the sincerity behind his apology, it felt like the seeds of hope were finally being planted. Yet doubts still crept in, whispering questions that clung to his thoughts like shadows. On the morning of Thanksgiving, Ryan's kitchen buzzed with activity. The oven hummed as the turkey roasted, filling the small space with warm, rich scents. Lily danced around him, her excitement infectious as she arranged flowers and set the table with care. Yet even amidst the joyful chaos, Ryan could feel a knot tightening in his stomach. Could this day really be what he hoped for? When the doorbell chimed, Ryan's heart skipped. He glanced at Lily, who wore an eager grin, her eyes sparkling with anticipation. Is it Grandpa? She asked, practically bouncing on her toes. I guess we'll find out, Ryan said, trying to sound nonchalant as he moved to the door. Standing there was his father, holding a homemade pumpkin pie that looked almost too perfect to eat. The warmth in his father's expression mirrored the pie's golden crust, promising a new beginning. The weight of the years melted away for a moment as Ryan stepped back, inviting him in. Hey there, his father said, his voice tinged with nervousness. Hey, Ryan tried to match his father's enthusiasm, but his heart still raced. They didn't need to say much. The air was thick with unspoken words and shared history. Lily bounded up, her small hands clasped in front of her. Grandpa, can I help? Her innocent eagerness broke the tension that had been hanging like a heavy fog. Of course. You can show me where the plates are, he replied, his smile softening the years that had kept them apart. As they moved into the kitchen, Ryan silently watched the two connect. Lily chattered about school, her favorite games, and how she loved baking, each word peeling away layers of doubt in his heart. It felt surreal to witness this bond form, one that he had long imagined yet thought impossible. They worked together, laughter echoing around the room as they set the table, pausing only for Ryan to carve the turkey. He took a deep breath, glancing at his father, who now seemed lighter, more like the man Ryan remembered from childhood. "Can you believe it? We're finally doing this," Ryan said, attempting the light-hearted tone that hid his trepidation. "Yeah, it's nice," his father replied, his eyes crinkling with a smile. "But this is just the start, right?" It felt like an acknowledgement of the work they both knew lay ahead. As they all finally sat down, Lily clasped her tiny hands and led them in a heartfelt prayer. Ryan's heart swelled as he listened to her words, spoken with pure innocence. "Thank you for this food, and for family." "Amen. Amen," both Ryan and his father echoed, sharing a brief glance loaded with a shared understanding. Just as they began to pass the food, a knock on the door drew their attention. The three of them paused, confusion flickering in the air. Who else would be coming? Ryan's father met his gaze, and in that instant, doubts returned, fears creeping back in. "Maybe it's someone who should we check?" Ryan interrupted, his voice barely a whisper, feeling the tension rise again. What if this moment was about to be disrupted? "Yeah, let us find out," his father said, a determined look on his face. They rose from the table, moving toward the door, the unease clamoring in Ryan's chest like a storm. As he reached for the handle, a sense of dread washed over him. Would this knock end all the hope they had fought to build? With a deep breath, Ryan opened the door, and as sunlight flooded in, he froze in shock at the sight before him. Standing on the threshold was a woman Ryan hadn't seen in years. His mother. The familiar features of her face, softened by age and time, felt both comforting and jarring. Her eyes were wide, a mixture of surprise and hope reflecting back at him. Ryan's breath hitched in his throat, memories flooding back, both good and bad, like a tidal wave threatening to drown him. "Ryan," she said softly, almost as if she were testing the sound of his name. It slipped from her lips like a long-forgotten melody. "Mom." The word felt foreign, heavy with all the unspoken years between them. Ryan stepped back, his heart racing as he looked back at his father. The room felt electric, charged with tension. "Is it really you?" he managed, disbelief hanging in each syllable. She stepped forward, hands clasped together at her chest. "I heard it was Thanksgiving. I thought it might be nice to come together." Ryan was at a loss for words. He hadn't prepared for this. The day had been filled with tentative hopes for reconciliation, but this was a shockwave, threatening to shake everything he thought he knew. Lily peered from behind Ryan's leg, her little face scrunched in confusion. "Who is she, Daddy?" Ryan felt his heart shatter for a moment. The image of his daughter standing in the crossfire of a family drama he never wanted to expose her to. But Lily's innocence cut through the chaos, giving him a focus. "This is your grandma, sweetie," he stated, swallowing the knot in his throat. "Grandma?" Lily blinked, her curiosity piqued. "You never told me about her." "I know," he said, his voice breaking. "I'm sorry." His mother knelt down, a gentle smile spreading across her face. "Hi, sweetheart. I'm so happy to meet you." The warmth in her voice pierced through the thick tension, and for just a moment, it felt like everything could meld away the years of hurt and disappointment. But just as quickly, reality crashed back. Ryan's father cleared his throat, breaking the stillness that hung in the air. "Maybe we should all sit down and talk." Talk. The word tasted bitter in Ryan's mouth. He felt torn between wanting to shield Lily and the yearning to unravel this twist in their lives. How could he explain the depths of their past to a child too young to understand? But before he could reply, Lily piped up again. "Can we have dinner first? I'm starving." A gentle chuckle escaped Ryan's lips, momentarily easing the weight of the situation. "All right, let us get back to our dinner," he said, though the shadows lurking in his heart loomed larger. As they made their way back to the dining room, his mother following closely behind, Ryan felt a mix of emotions. Part of him hesitated, unsure if the past could ever truly be put aside. Another part, a much more hopeful part, whispered that perhaps this tangled web of family could be rewoven. They sat at the table, a shy silence filling the spaces where words were meant to fly. Lily eagerly dove into the mashed potatoes, oblivious to the gravity of the moment. glancing at his father, then at his mother. Ryan thought maybe this day could hold just a little more magic if they let it. But as he watched his mother reach for a serving of turkey, a familiar fear crept back in. Would the ghosts of their shared history come alive, wrecking the fragile peace they were trying to build? With a heart full of uncertainty, Ryan felt a chill run down his spine. What had started as a day for healing now hung in the balance. And as the tension began to settle like fog around them, he wondered, would this Thanksgiving bring them together or tear them apart once more? Lily dug into her food with gusto, the sound of her fork clinking against the plate breaking the heavy silence at the table. Ryan watched her, finding solace in the simple pleasure of her meal. For now, she seemed unaware of the weighty history swirling around them, a cocoon of innocence in the midst of this family storm. His father shifted in his chair, glancing at Ryan's mother, then back at Ryan. A silent conversation played out in their eyes, years of resentment and pain woven with the desire for resolution. Ryan felt the weight of the moment and knew something had to give. "Can we pass the rolls?" Lily chirped, her eyes sparkling with enthusiasm as she reached for a basket in the center of the table. The tension felt momentarily lifted, but Ryan knew it was still lurking, ready to strike again. As rolls were passed around, his mother looked at him with an earnest gaze. "Ryan, I didn't mean to surprise you like this. I thought this was a chance to begin anew." Her voice trembled, and the lines around her eyes deepened with age and regret. He blinked back a mixture of emotions. He wanted to respond, to tell her everything he had bottled up inside after all these years. Yet, something held him back. The fear of reopening old wounds kept his words lodged in his throat. "Mom, it's not that simple," he finally managed, the fight barely escaping. "There's a lot we need to discuss." All these years apart, Lily, noticing the sudden shift in the atmosphere, set down her fork and looked up. "Why don't you two just hug? Hugs make things better, right?" Ryan chuckled softly despite himself, the innocence of his daughter cutting through the tension. "Sometimes, sweetie, it's not just a hug that solves everything. But I have a great hug," she insisted, beaming as she opened her arms wide. "I can share it, too." In that instant, the room brightened with a hint of warmth. Ryan's mother laughed softly, a sound filled with gratitude and nostalgia. She leaned forward, arms outstretched toward Lily. "Okay, I think we could all use some of that love." That was enough of a cue for Ryan, and before he knew it, he found himself leaning in to meet his mother halfway. The embrace was tentative at first, awkward and hesitant, but as the moment lingered, it began to dissolve the layers of their shared history. At that moment, Ryan felt a flicker of hope. It was fragile but real. This hug felt like a bridge, spanning the chasm of their past. He could sense the emotion radiating from her, and he was surprised by how much he missed her warmth. Just as they pulled back, his father cleared his throat again, the tension in the air sharpening into something almost unbearable. "Maybe we should talk about everything. It's been too long. And where do we even start?" Ryan whispered, glancing from his mother to his father. He could feel the pressure building, the uncertainty swirling, but at the same time, he sensed a shift, a possibility that had been absent until now. Maybe his mother hesitated, taking a deep breath. "Maybe we could start with what happened when I left." Ryan's heart sank. Did he truly want to unearth the past? As the flames of conversation flickered to life, the atmosphere felt electric. But would that electricity lead to illumination or just another shocking jolt? And as the truth hovered, ready to spill forth, Ryan realized that everything they spoke about from here could either mend hearts or tear them apart once more. Could he handle what came next? Or would it break the fragile bond they had begun to rebuild? Ryan's pulse quickened as his mother's words hung in the air. The prospect of digging into their shared history felt daunting. He glanced at Lily, happily buttering her roll, blissfully ignorant of the cracks forming around the dinner table. In that moment, he wished to shield her from the storm brewing just beneath the surface. His father shifted again, his expression shadowed with concern. "We need to be honest. It's time." When he spoke, his voice was steady but filled with unspoken guilt. The atmosphere was thick with anticipation, as if a dam was ready to burst. "Mom, you left, but you never really explained why," Ryan said, searching her gaze for answers. "I've had years to think about it, years to understand. Did you want to be away, or was it something you regretted?" She closed her eyes for a long moment, as if gathering strength. It was never about wanting to leave you. It was about escaping a life I felt trapped in. Her voice trembled but grew stronger as she continued. I thought it was best for everyone. But I was naive. I didn't realize how my choices would ripple through our lives. Ryan felt an ache in his chest. He had replayed this moment in his head a million times, and yet, hearing it out loud felt like jumping into icy water. It just hurt, you know? All those years without you. I never understood why. Lily, sensing the gravity of the moment, put down her roll and leaned in closer. Did you miss each other? Like when I miss my teddy bear? Her innocent question cut through the heaviness. Yes, Lily, that's exactly it. Except it was like losing a part of me, Ryan admitted, the emotions crashing down like waves. His mother's brow furrowed. I missed you every day. It was agony. But I thought you'd be better off. Tears glistened in her eyes. Each drop a silent confession of pain carried too long. Better off without a mom. Ryan scoffed lightly, despite the turmoil within. Doesn't seem fair? Maybe we should have made it work instead. Together. His father's silence spoke volumes, his eyes darting between Ryan and his wife. I never knew how to bridge that gap either. I thought giving you space was protecting you both, but maybe I failed just the same. It was then that Ryan felt a stirring resolve. What are we going to do about it now? This is our chance to change things. To build something new from the ashes. He glanced at Lily, wisdom beyond her years reflected in her big, brown eyes. His mother nodded, a spark igniting within her. Then let us not waste it. I want to share everything, even the painful parts. But what happened next? Lily asked, her voice a blend of curiosity and concern. Ryan's heart raced. He knew the truth would hurt, but withholding it wouldn't allow them to truly heal. It means saying things no one wants to hear, Lily. It's not easy. As the remnants of Thanksgiving dinner lay forgotten on their plates, Ryan took a deep breath, ready to plunge into the waters of their tangled past. All right, let us start at the beginning. But as he prepared to unravel the secrets locked within their family, a sudden knock on the door interrupted the moment, jolting them all from their contemplation. Who could that be? His father's voice trembled slightly, uncertainty creeping back into his demeanor. The knock echoed again, louder this time, demanding attention. Ryan exchanged worried glances with his mother and father. Whoever stood outside might just become part of the story they were beginning to rewrite. Would this unexpected visitor bring more confusion or perhaps a lost piece to their long-buried history? Ryan's heart raced, caught between hope and fear. The knock sounded again, more insistent this time. There was a moment of silence as everyone seemed to hold their breath, uncertainty hanging like fog in the air. Had someone found them, or was it just a neighbor dropping by? His father stood up, the tension in his shoulders evident as he walked toward the door. I'll check, he said, voice steady but eyes betraying a swell of anxiety. Ryan's mother wiped her eyes, the initial wave of emotion still lingering. She reached for Lily, who looked both confused and curious. What do you think it is, sweetheart? She asked, trying to lighten the moment. I think it's Santa, Lily exclaimed with wide eyes, her innocence bringing a flicker of laughter, breaking some of the tension. Santa? At our door? Ryan couldn't help but smile despite the whirlwind in his chest. The answer to his own turmoil of unanswered questions felt as far away as the North Pole. When his father finally opened the door, Ryan's heart dropped at the sight of a stranger. A woman stood there, wrapped in a thick coat, her breath visible in the cold air. She looked familiar, but not someone Ryan could easily place. A mix of apprehension and curiosity washed over him. Can I help you? His father asked, the door slightly ajar. The woman stepped forward, her cheeks flushed from the chill outside. I'm sorry to intrude. I'm looking for Ryan. Is he here? Ryan felt his pulse quicken. Yes, I'm here. He took a cautious step forward, trying to gauge her expression. Ryan, she repeated, her voice trembling slightly. I'm your aunt, Claire. In an instant, the air thickened with unspoken emotions and tangled histories. Ryan's stomach twisted. He heard stories about her, a ghost from their family's past, someone his mother never mentioned. Claire, his mother, stood frozen at the sight of her sister. The shock on her face was beyond words, as if time had pulled a cruel trick, yanking back years of distance. Yes, I know it's been a while, Claire said carefully, her eyes shifting from Ryan to his mother. I had to come. I heard about you, and things are different now. I didn't want to lose the chance to connect. To fix what has been broken. Broken? Ryan was leaning in now, keenly aware of the shift in the room. What do you mean? What has broken? Claire took a deep breath, her eyes glistening. There are things you don't know, things that could explain so much about your mother's choices, about why we lost so much time. But it's not my place to say. Only she can tell you. All eyes turned to his mother, whose face reflected surprise, fear, and something else, maybe hope. The silhouette of a family torn apart, now suddenly in the same room, felt surreal. Are you really here to help? Ryan's voice was steady, resolved. Or to bring up more pain we're trying to heal from? Before Claire could answer, Lily tugged at Ryan's sleeve. Does she have candy? I like candy. A small laugh erupted from Claire, lightening the mood as she answered. Not candy. But I do have some memories that might be sweeter than that. Ryan's chest tightened. Memories? What did that even mean? They were standing at a precipice. The invitation to delve deeper into their past was open, but would it lead to healing or hurt? Can we all just sit and talk? His mother finally spoke, determination bubbling beneath her fear. I think it's time we finally faced everything together. As they turned back into the house, Claire trailing behind, Ryan's mind raced with questions. What secrets lay ahead? Would their stories weave together to form the family they've longed for? Mom, are you ready for this? He asked quietly as they regrouped inside. She nodded, her eyes shimmering with a mixture of apprehension and resolve. Ryan's heartbeat echoed in his ears. Where did this journey lead? To answers or more confusion? And as everyone settled in, a mix of hope and uncertainty hung in the air. Would this reunion finally reveal the truth, or plunge them deeper into a mystery they might not be ready to face? Claire stepped into the warm glow of the living room, that single movement sending a ripple of emotions through everyone present. Ryan watched her closely as she scanned the space, recognizing the framed photographs and familiar couch that had been the backdrop of his childhood memories. Let us sit down, his mother suggested, her voice whisper soft. She motioned towards the worn-out sofa where family gatherings had taken place, where stories had been shared and laughter had spilled forth. But now it felt heavy, laden with questions yet to be asked. Ryan caught a glimpse of his mother's fingers fidgeting with the hem of her shirt, lost in thought as she struggled to find the right words. Claire took a seat first, carefully adjusting her coat as she looked expectantly at his mother. Why now, Claire? His mother finally voiced, her tone both cautious and guarded. After all this time, Claire hesitated, clearly weighing her response. I thought about reaching out when I heard about everything. New beginnings often follow painful endings. I thought, maybe it was time to reconnect. Reconnect? Ryan's voice interrupted, a mix of skepticism and curiosity thrumming beneath each word. You've been gone. You don't know anything about what we've been through. His words hung in the air, thick with unspoken hurt. Claire looked down at her lap, her hands trembling slightly. I know it feels like I'm a stranger, Ryan, but I've watched from afar. I've seen the struggles you've faced. The truth is, I want to understand. Then start by telling us what you've hidden, his mother said, tears gleaming in her eyes. We deserve to know. I can't. Claire's voice faltered. It's not just my story to tell. There are things that link our family to the past, things that you've carried alone. Lily, momentarily forgotten amid the heavy conversation, perched on the edge of the sofa. Can someone just say something nice? I don't like sad stuff. Everyone chuckled softly at her honesty, a welcome break from the tension. Claire smiled softly at Lily, appreciating her innocence. You're right, honey. I wish I had stories of laughter and joy to share. But every family has its storms. Then help us weather this one, Ryan urged, feeling emboldened. Mom, are you ready? We've got to dig in. It's time to break down these walls. Ryan felt a wave of determination wash over him. He glanced at his mother, seeking reassurance. She nodded again, though her brow was still knitted with worry. Okay, Claire said slowly. I'll start with why I left, and maybe you'll understand why it hurt everyone so much. The air thickened as Claire began to speak, her voice trembling as she recounted a story buried deep in the family's history. A tale of choices made, secrets kept, and love lost. As her words carved through the silence, the weight of unspoken truths began to lift. Ryan's heart beat harder, feeling the strain of each disclosure. Memories he'd long wished for started to resurface. Yet the deeper Claire dug, the more unsettling the revelations grew. Moments passed, each more intense than the last, as they wrestled with their past. It felt like they were peeling away layers, getting closer to the heart of what binds them or shatters them. And just when Ryan thought he might understand, Claire mentioned someone else entirely. A name dropped like a stone in still water, sending ripples through the room. Your father, he always knew about me. He made choices too, she whispered, her gaze steady yet pained. The revelation hung heavily between them. What choices? Why had they never spoken of this? Ryan felt the world shift beneath him, everything he thought he knew crumbling. Would this family striving for connection only find more division in the truths unveiled? And as silence enveloped them, the room pulsed with questions yet to be asked, every heart trembling with anticipation and fear of what lay ahead. What other truths remained, waiting patiently in the shadows? Ryan's pulse quickened, the weight of Claire's words pressing down on him. The silence in the room felt like a living thing, squirming with anxious energy. His mother sat frozen, eyes wide, caught between fear and hope. It was Lily's small voice that broke the tension again. Is Dad coming home? She asked quietly, her innocence amplifying the weight of the conversation. At that moment, Claire's eyes softened as she turned to face Lily. I hope so, sweetheart. Families can go through tough times, but they can heal too, if they want to. Ryan's heart raced with an onslaught of emotions. Questions formed a storm in his mind. What had their father done? Why had he kept this from them? He leaned forward, his hands gripping the edge of the seat. What do you mean he made choices? What kind of choices? Claire inhaled sharply, as if debating whether to go deeper. The kind that redefined our family. It's complicated, Ryan. There were decisions made based on fear, love, and years of misunderstandings. His mother shifted in her seat, a hand rising to her mouth. What do you know, Claire? Please, just tell us. Claire hesitated, her fingers dancing nervously over her lap. I had to leave because I believed it was for the best. But your father knew why. He never wanted to hurt anyone, yet he allowed secrets to grow like shadows. Like shadows, Ryan echoed. The shadows were all he saw now. What's in the shadows, Claire? It feels like they swallowed us whole. Claire's gaze met his, filled with both compassion and sadness. Your father loved both of us, in different ways. There's a whole story intertwined, generations of choices. But I was given a chance to discover what was left unsaid. Lily's eyes darted between the adults, uncertainty etching her face. Can people fix things when they're broken? She asked, a depth beyond her years shining through. Ryan's chest tightened. Often it took more than a few breaks to mend something fractured. I don't know, honey. But do we even know what is broken? His mother let out a pained breath. Claire, why didn't you come back before? We needed you. Why wait until now? I didn't know if I could face it. The past was heavy. I thought you might be better off without me, Claire admitted, her voice trembling with vulnerability. But I realize now that maybe it's essential to face these shadows together. A flicker of hope kindled in Ryan's heart. Maybe there was a way to heal, through honesty. But how could they employ that honesty when the admissions were so difficult? Suddenly, a thought struck him, bright and exhilarating. What if we all sat down with Dad? Not just to confront the past, but also to find a way forward? Claire nodded slowly. That could be a start, if he is willing. Healing often starts with communication. What are we waiting for? Ryan declared, determination blossoming. He looked at his mother and Lily, their faces conflicted but resolute. Let us bring him home. We need him now more than ever. But what if he is not ready? His mother asked, concern threading her voice. Then we prepare. We need to face whatever comes next together. As they locked eyes, a shared understanding passed between them. This was the beginning of a journey back to family, to truth, with all their old fears in tow. But just as they seemed to find solid ground, Claire reached into her pocket and pulled out a worn photograph, her hands shaking. There's something else you need to see. Ryan's breath hitched. What other secrets lurked in the corners of their story? He felt the air shift, the anticipation tightening again. Each heartbeat echoed a question: was this another storm, or the first sign of clarity? The photograph trembled in Claire's hands, ready to reveal another layer of their tangled family history. What else awaited them in the realm of the unknown? As Claire unfolded the photograph, Ryan leaned closer, eager yet anxious. The image slowly revealed a sepia-toned moment frozen in time. His mother and father, young and happy, stood side by side with Claire beside them, their faces radiating new beginnings. Below, scrawled in elegant handwriting, was the date marked July 4th, 1993. This was taken just a few weeks before everything began to fall apart. Claire spoke softly, her gaze fixed on the picture. A day filled with hope, celebration, and a promise that slowly faded. Ryan felt the weight of the photograph in his hands as he processed the image. There was something bittersweet about seeing his parents happy, a stark contrast to the mended relationships he was currently wrestling with. What happened, Claire? Why couldn't he at last? Claire looked at him, eyes glistening. Life grew complicated. Your father became burdened with doubts that spiraled into choices he thought would protect the family. He was torn. It didn't just affect him. It resonated through all of us. Ryan squinted at the photograph again, searching for answers within the smiles that now felt so distant. The shadows loomed, but began to flicker with a hint of brightness. And you let him carry that alone? His voice was steady, but the pain lingered in every syllable. I didn't know how to reach out, Claire confessed, tears glistening on her cheeks. I thought by leaving, it would clear the air. Instead, I just piled on the weight. What my mom says is true, echoed Ryan's mother, voice trembling. I was angry. I didn't see that whole picture. We thought leaving would be the answer, but in truth, it only built walls. Lily, who had been listening quietly, spoke up again, her small voice cutting through the swirling emotions. But if there are walls, can't we just knock them down? Ryan chuckled lightly, a medley of awe and appreciation for his daughter's pure perspective. You're right, Lil. We can knock them down together. Claire nodded, looking around the room, absorbing their shared determination. But we have to start with honesty, the kind that requires bravery. And that means reaching out to your dad. Ryan felt a fierce surge of ambition welling up inside him. Let us do it. Let us invite him over now. It's time for us all to sit at the same table, to face our past, and create something new. Lily grinned, clearly excited. Can we have pie too? Her innocent humor lightened the atmosphere, providing a momentary reprieve as they all chuckled. Yet as laughter faded, tension settled again, heavier this time. The invitation needed to be compelling. The past could not just come rattling back without careful handling. All right, then, Ryan said, glancing back toward Claire. I'll call him. We have so much to say. As Claire nodded, Ryan reached for his phone, steadying his breath. Every heartbeat sounded loud in his ears, each pulse fueling his resolve. This was at one moment. One conversation could change everything. As he dialed, visions of his father flashed through his mind, both the memories he cherished and the anger he carried. The phone rang. Hauntingly, each beep felt like the echo of his past. Would his father come? Would this be a day of reckoning or heartbreak? Hello, came a familiar voice. Dad. Ryan spoke softly, hardly masking the nervousness that crept in. It's me. Could you come over? We need to talk. I think it's time for us all to sit down. Together. Pause. All right. His father finally replied, the resignation in his tone cutting Ryan deeply. I'll be there soon. As he hung up the phone, an electrifying mixture of fear and hope whirled inside him. Yes, on his way. In that instant, the gravity of what lay ahead crashed into him, squeezing energy from his chest. They were standing on the precipice of something monumental, a path laid with pieces of their history ready to be picked up. Would they gather the scattered fragments of their story? Or would it tear them apart with the truths that awaited? Let us set the table again, Ryan exclaimed, shaking off the uneasiness. This time, let us do it right. Together they reassembled the table, moving with an intentionality that felt both refreshing and frightening. Each dish they placed became a representation of hope woven into a tapestry of experience, healing, and connections reformed. Finally, as the door creaked open, revealing his father's silhouette, a collective breath was drawn. The room was thick with unspoken thoughts, but threaded with a stronger resolve. As his father stepped through the threshold, Ryan could feel the tide shift. Let us begin anew, he thought, heart pounding as he caught his father's gaze. With trembling hearts and brimming hopes, they stood on the brink of transformation. Would today mark the beginning of their healing journey? Would they find redemption in their stories? As their eyes met, an unshakable feeling settled over Ryan. This was the moment. They were ready to confront whatever lay ahead together. Now, dear friends, this is your moment too. Subscribe immediately to the channel so you don't miss the next heartwarming stories that could inspire your journey. Leave a like now to feed the algorithm and help others find the hope within these tales. Comment your thoughts and feelings about the ending. Your insights matter. And share instantly this video with at least 5 friends who need a spark of transformation in their lives. You need to subscribe now. This is the moment to show your support. Don't wait, not even one more second to share. Only true fans understand the impact of lifting each other up.